Over the last couple of days, I have been in deep meditation and reflection on the very troubling, saddening, and infuriating assassinations of many of our African American and Black people just within a matter of weeks. Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Ahmad Aubrey, and Tony McDade. On the surface, it feels like and it looks like these are the result of very overt racist attacks, specifically to African Americans by most predominantly white law enforcement officers and those white men who firmly believe that they have the right and the authority to enact a citizen's arrest, if you will. As I have been reflecting on these deaths, which have been consecutive within a span of about 4 to 5 weeks, the one thing that I know is that this is not by happenstance. It is not by chance. And this is not solely due to racism. On a very deep cellular, sort of ancestral memory type of level, in my mind, there has been one prevailing thought that I just cannot escape. And that is these assassinations and many others that we've not yet heard of, but that we will be hearing about in the next week or two, is that these have been orchestrated and calculated to enact one thing and one thing only, and that is martial law. I have been saying this for the last couple of months. It has been bubbling up inside of me. This white, patriarchal, racist regime that we unfortunately reside under has been about and is still about one thing, and that is control. It is not a far-fetched idea whatsoever to consider the fact that in the midst of a global pandemic, one in which the United States of America has, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the country that has maintained a shelter in place order or a forcible quarantine the longest out of any other country, to my knowledge. And in the midst of that, multiple African Americans, I just named 4, but there are others, 4 African Americans, 4 Black people have had their lives taken away from them within a very short, and I mean very short time frame, while we are in the midst of a quarantine. That is not by chance, and that is absolutely and most certainly not by happenstance. People have been let go of their jobs, which I believe now at this point, it's about 40 million people who have filed for unemployment. People are not going outside in large numbers in which we've done in years past, right? So where are we? We are mostly at home. And what are we doing while we're at home? We are on social media. We are on our phones. We're on our tablets. We're on our iPads. Or we are using our smart TVs, which means that the overall rate of consumption of this news media is at an all-time high. If we were to look at the statistics and the numbers on the web traffic, I'm sure it would be astronomical and through the stratosphere in comparison to where it was, let's just say, a year ago or even in December. So as we are forced into our homes, which is a form of control, make no mistake about that. We've been forced into our homes for the last 2.5, nearing 3 months now. And coupled with the fact that we've been consuming this information and these visuals and these messages in this media, that Black people are once again being exploited. Our bodies are being utilized for target practice, if you will, as we have been consistently exploited to achieve white supremacy and white domination. As we sit back and we continue to consume this, fear, rage, anxiety, all of these things are bubbling up to the surface. And it makes the perfect storm, if you will, or the perfect scenario for a race riot, if someone wants to label it as that, or for a social uprising or rebellion to occur. Just yesterday, I was talking with a really great friend of mine, having this exact same conversation. And I said to him, they will enact martial law within a span of a couple of weeks, because people will start to rebel, people will start to riot and start to tear shit up. I wake up this morning, which is today, Thursday, May 28th, and that is what I see on the news. Mark my words when I tell you all this. In the next couple of weeks, there will be an executive order that will come down and be mandated to each local municipality, each state, to enact martial law and to start to put people on a curfew. It's one of the greatest weapons that this country could ever utilize to ensure that they could continue their reign of terror and domination. And unfortunately, what always happens, what this nation, what this corrupt nation was founded on and continues to thrive on, is that Black bodies, Black consciousness, Black identity, and Black presence, the sheer existence of Black people, is that we will continue to be exploited by white supremacists and by a white supremacist regime and government, so to essentially achieve their overall mission, which is white domination, white patriarchal domination at that. I firmly believe, and I know in my cellular encoding, that these assassinations were given as a specific directive to these white law enforcement officers and to those two individuals that slaughtered and murdered Ahmad Aubrey. Because the goal was to incite both terror and rage into us. They know that we will reach a breaking point. We are essentially sitting on a powder keg, okay? And it has been waiting to erupt for a while now. They calculated and they foresaw that there would be protests leading to looting in any location in here in the United States. And it has occurred, and it's possibly still occurring right now in Minneapolis. This regime has already had us under control for the last couple of months. And what do they want to do? They want to extend that. And all of this chatter, and all of this rhetoric about a forthcoming stimulus package, it is not going to happen, or it will happen in the very distant future. This is the carrot and stick type of game. They continue to string us along and dangle something in our faces that we can never get to. They control our money. They control how we get money. They have been working overtime to control our physical movements, our mobility. They're already controlling the food and agriculture industry. The price of meat, I believe specifically chicken or beef or pork, for those of you who are carnivorous, they're controlling how much you're going to spend on chicken and all of those other products right now. And it won't be long until after they start to, suggest that there be some sort of food rationing program once martial law ensues. And I know specifically that once the executive order comes down to enact martial law and put everyone on a curfew, they have already foreseen and calculated that there will be people, specifically Black people, Black and brown people, who will protest against the curfew, who would be potentially caught breaking the curfew, which will allow them and give them a pass to slaughter more Black people. Because I know how this country moves. Nothing that occurs here is simply by happenstance. It's not by chance. It is very much well calculated. Very much. Do I have any words of wisdom to offer, or anything to offer in terms of being resolutions oriented? Think from your eye inside. If you think from here, you're able to see the long game. You're able to see several steps ahead. You're able to think and move strategically rather than solely out of rage, which we are all entitled to, because rage is a powerful emotion. I have lots of it, and I've gotten a lot done and accomplished through the emotion of rage. It's been extremely transformative for me and a lot of people who felt and are still feeling that rage too. But in regards to what is happening here on a national and even global scale, take time to get quiet and to get still if you can, to think from the eye inside. Use that as your divining rod, or as your guiding post. Before you act on anything, go inside first. Just do that. Just take a minute to do that and see all of the different pieces that are at play here, because there are many. We as Black people are consistently used as pawns. And I know that there are many of us who are moving in ways to reclaim and to get the power that is our birthright, power that is economical, power that is political, power that is physical in nature. I know that. I'm a part of that. But for my family that's out there, my Black family, We need to know how to see the long game and how to understand what is really happening here. Because I'll tell you, we will be hearing it very soon. It will not be very long until we start to hear words like I said before, executive order, for your safety, for the protection of you and your family. We are going to mandate a curfew. We are going to mandate and strongly enforce. These are the words that they're going to be using, that we're going to be hearing soon. We're going to strongly enforce that crowds of no more than insert minimal number here can be allowed in a specific store or location at this specific time. Curfew. We are going to hear this word soon. Very, very, very soon. There are many ways to rebel against any structure or entity that is oppressive and that tries to suppress you and your humanity. I am a fan of exercising all of the unlimited ways in which you are able to rebel against tyranny. What I would ask is that we understand that we are multifaceted beings and we have multifaceted approaches. And that if we are silent and if we are still and if we have dominion and control over this and the I inside, if we begin to think with this, we will see that strategy and moving in a more calculated sort of way will throw off the predator because they won't see it coming.